Welcome to Liberty Nation TV. I'm your host, Scott Cosenza, Legal Affairs Editor for Liberty Nation, and I'm joined by Mark Angelides, our Managing Editor, to talk about the Democrat convention and the possibility of it being a brokered one. Welcome, Mark.
Hi, Scott.
So what are the odds of the Democrat nomination being brokered at the convention?
Well, according to 538, they reckon around 25%, which is not a big number. And of course, every time we have an election, there's always, is it going to be a brokered convention? Can one candidate stand out? But 25% here, it's about the same odds as Pete Buttigieg actually winning the required majority. So it's not really that high. But the reason it's got me interested is because you've got Bernie Sanders on a 45% chance of getting the requisite, I think it's 1,900 delegates. So in reality, I'd say it's actually more around 50-50 for a brokered convention, which I know it's the cross on which everybody burns. But yeah, I think we're heading for a brokered convention this time.
Now, Mark, I'm going to ask you why this is happening, do you think? But when you give your answer, you know, I'm not wearing my tinfoil hat because they made me take it off. But when I have it on, sometimes I think that this is in order to get Hillary installed as the nominee. So why is this happening, do you think?
I'd say there's probably three reasons why I believe we're heading towards a brokered convention. First, there's Bloomberg staying out of the early ballots. Now, at the same time, he's putting hundreds of millions, with a number that's soon to double, according to his team, up to $600 million on ads. But he's not going to the places or taking part in the events that will give him the delegates. And it's a delegate race. So he's playing to win at the convention. He's not playing to win state by state through the primaries. It's no surprise there was a recent rule change here as well from the DNC. I mean, that's the first indicator for me. The second one being that with such
wait a second, just before you go on that point, let's focus on that. This is the rule change that Michael Moore was railing about that allowed basically Michael Bloomberg to kind of buy his way onto the debate stage. Previously, there had been a requirement for a certain amount of grassroots support measured in separate small checks, I guess, and they eliminated that in favor of letting Bloomberg come in on the stage.
Absolutely. There's also some changes and tweaks to the reform with how superdelegates work this time around as well, which could prove interesting depending on what happens. But back to the reasons why I think it might happen. The second reason is that obviously with being such a divisive primary for the Dems, it kind of looks like they were so excited about having so many politicians of color. I believe that's what POC stands for. Politicians of color running it, and so many female politicians.
It's persons of color. Oh.
I know.
I was hoping that you actually somehow lived in a world where you were able to escape that information. So
sadly not.
Yeah.
But if you have a look at the top 4 spots now in the Democratic primary, they're all white males. The top 3 spots, especially according to the betting odds, are all very old white males, all septuagenarians. So the cry for intersectionality, that's not going away anytime soon. So what's going to happen is you're going to have the candidates who would ordinarily drop out after a poor showing, thinking that, well, if I stay in just a little while longer, then maybe the party will get behind me because of either my gender, age, or race. And so it's not going to be a case, as far as I see it, of people dropping out when ordinarily they would. And finally, I don't think the DNC can afford to have an early candidate breakout. Trump is very much on the top of his game at the moment, especially after the recent acquittal. And if they have an early breakout candidate, he can just attack as much as he likes. And he's very effective at that. We saw what he did to the Republican field back in 2016. And those people were apparently on his side. What he can do to an early breakaway candidate, it could be quite devastating. So
okay, let's talk about Trump for just a second, Mark. Quick exit response here. Who does all this benefit? Do the benefits accrue to Donald Trump or the eventual Democrat nominee?
There's no real benefit unless we go to our tinfoil hats. The real benefit would be to the DNC if they have a candidate in mind to win the nomination. And that's where, as I see it, that's where the real benefit is. It's for the DNC if they happen to have selected as opposed to elected a candidate.
Thank you for joining us, Mark Angelides, and thank you for watching.
Hi folks, Lisa K. Donner here, Editor-in-Chief of LibertyNation.com. We hope you enjoyed watching this video, maybe even learned a thing or two. If so, please take a moment and subscribe to our YouTube channel right down there in the corner. Thanks so much.